Trade between Egypt and the US is healthy. It's about $5 billion, $1.5 billion export from Egypt to the US, and 3.5 the other way around. I think during this visit we had a lot of discussion in terms of how can we expand that. There are some barriers that we're working on together in order to resolve, and there are future promotions that we can do instead of in the case of having a bilateral agreement on certain aspects, reviving the TIFA agreement, which is a trade and investment, which is again related to how can we expand our bilateral trade. I think within the last 15 months, we've done significant improvement in our legislations to help both investment as well as trade. For example, we passed a law to improve the industrial licensing, which will cut it from almost 600 days to less than 2 weeks. We have passed another law for import registry, which will allow foreigners to import directly into the country. We're also working on the easy trade between Ministry of Trade and Industry, Finance, and all the ports in order to facilitate and speed up the process for all goods in and out of Egypt. One point about the Egyptian economy, which is very well diversified. So industry is the biggest part of the Egyptian economy. It's about 17.7% of GDP, followed by internal trade, services, tourism, and agriculture. So we're focusing on improving or increasing industrial from 17.7 to 21% of the GDP. We have 4 major sectors that we're focusing on. Those are today is about almost 75% of our export, which is engineering, including automotive, chemical, including petrochemicals and pharmaceutical, textile, which we have a significant edge using the Egyptian cotton, as well as building materials. We're working on, I would say, 3 pillars. One, improving infrastructure, which is very important for industry as well as investment. We've launched we completed almost 5,000 kilometers worth of roads, which is very important for the supply chain of the country and connectivity between the ports and industrial areas. We've launched in 2016 almost 11 million square meters of industrial land. And to give you a perspective, between 2007 and 2015, we've launched 9.5. So in 1 year, we've launched more than what we have launched in the past 9 years. Second is the improvement in the legislations in order to help the industry growth. And I mentioned to you, for example, the industrial licensing law based on the World Bank. We used to have, industry used to take almost 643 days to complete industrial license. The new law will bring it down to less than 2 weeks. Also, we're expanding in the clusters approach. So we already built a cluster for the leather industry. We're building another one for the furniture industry. We're building a third one for textile and chemicals. The whole idea of the cluster approach is to have a unified services in order to deepen the local components of those industries. Within the last couple of years, we are launching, we started actually one of the biggest power stations in the world by Siemens. We already started like 5 or 6 turbines. Today, by the end of 2018, we will be adding almost 50% of the entire power generation historically in Egypt in those 2 years. Today, industry don't have an issue on power and water whatsoever. also from the promotion side and looking to the future, a couple of things that can be done. One is the renegotiation of the TIFA agreement, as well as having a bilateral agreement on free trade. It doesn't have to be a full free trade agreement, but a bilateral trade agreement that help moving U.S. product into Egypt and Egyptian product into the U.S.